Baby, you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel like chemistry.
So a few fun facts about this fabric. It was a thrifted piece, which means I paid $6. It was a size medium turned into an extra large, and also this was made with non-stretch fabric. So to start, there was a hem at the bottom of the skirt. I ripped that seam and I cut off that entire hem because I'm going to use that as the waistband later. I'm going to rip the seams to one side of the skirt to give myself more wiggle room with the fabric. Now we're going to place your fabric on fold using your weights and your pattern. Make sure to add 5 inches to your skirt length just because it is a ruched skirt. And I also decided to mark 1 inch seam allowance down the entire skirt just to give myself a little more wiggle room when it comes to sewing. Now we're going to cut along the line that we just marked. Put the piece of fabric you just cut to the side, but not too far, because you're about to use it again. You're going to lay your fabric down again on fold and cut out the exact same piece that you just cut. Now you should have a front and back to your skirt, and the next thing we're going to do is hem the bottom and the top of the skirt to make sure that it's even. Because I did not iron the fabric, it did come out a little uneven, so I'm going to make sure to hem the bottom and the top just like this, and it should look like this once you go across both pieces. Now we're going to sew these hems using a straight stitch across. Next, you're going to pin your side seams and sew them together with a straight stitch. And I actually tried my skirt on first and realized that it was kind of baggy, so I took my sides in a little more. The next thing we're going to do is called an overlapping stitch. So we're going to sew over the stitch that we already sewed, but we're going to sew on the right side. Next, we're going to move on to the casing. So we're going to flip our garment inside out with the top of the skirt facing towards us. And now we're going to measure the midpoint and mark that with our tailor's chalk. You're also going to mark 1 inch to the left and 1 inch to the right of the midpoint, but I did that off camera. For this, we're going to cut out a rectangular piece that is the length of your skirt and the width of 3 inches. Pin the piece of fabric that we cut to the bottom, and we're going to pin it to secure it. It's something about the way you stare into my... Starting with the left side, you're going to fold over your fabric, only pinning it to the side that you're working on. If it pins to the opposite side, you want to make sure it doesn't do that, because if you sew it, your skirt is going to be sewn together from the inside out, and that's not what we want. Make sure that you pin both sides down. It should look something like this as you continue. This is where we pinned, and now we're going to sew exactly where we pinned, as close to the edge as possible. Make sure not to sew the top or the bottom, just sew the sides. Now that you have your 2 lines sewn down, what you want to do is sew directly in between those lines in the same direction. So now you should have 3 lines where your casing is, and it should look exactly like this, with space at the top and the bottom for you to add your strings. Moving on to the strings, I cut 2 matching pieces out and folded them over into themselves twice so that they could fit through the casing that I have. So you're going to see me going through and pinning the entire string just so I know that it's the same size when I'm sewing, and also we're pinning this inside out and we're going to turn it right side up later. Now we're going to sew exactly how we pinned inside out, and then we're going to use a safety pin to flip this piece right side up. Now, when it came to the waistband, I was running out of fabric, so I had to take 2 strands of the same size fabric and attach them together to make one longer piece to help create the waistband. It's not that I want you here. It's not the way you say. And now you're going to see me sew those 2 sides together. You want to make sure your waistband is the exact width of your skirt just so you don't have any issues attaching it. So what I'm doing now is pinning the waistband to my skirt while also pushing the elastic under the skirt so I don't have to go through 2 separate processes to attach them both. Lastly, you're going to top stitch your waistband around the entire skirt. And this is the final reveal, guys. This is the skirt. I absolutely loved it, and I love this fabric. If you guys want to see me make a side ruche skirt, comment down below, and I'll have that tutorial available for you guys soon. I love you guys. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. See y'all in the next video. My